We're going to entertain citizens' comments. Would anyone like to say anything tonight?
Yes. I have a question. In your board meeting, you talked about the Star Vision Day. Is that official recording?
Yes.
Okay. Is that an official recording?
Yes.
No, that's not our official
Oh,
recording.
sorry.
So, could you ask them to turn that off if we have an official recording? Because and that's the first thing they tell you. You should not be on your phone. You should be concentrating on the meeting. That's what you're here to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else that care to speak?
Well, I agree with the fact that he should not be taking an unofficial copy because, as we all know, people can use those for their own purposes. If there's a copy being made, the commissioner should not be making their own because what purpose does that serve? I agree with that.
Anyone else? Okay, we'll check with our lawyer about that and move on. I would like to have a motion for approval of the minutes from last meeting.
I move that we approve the May 11, 2017 monthly board meeting minutes as written. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of bills.
Okay, I'll go through the unusuals.
Okay,
Okay. As you go down the bills in front of you, Amazon.com art supplies for camps, as we just got going on Tuesday. The schools were let out on Monday. Anton's Greenhouse, a variety of flowers and mulch for the parks, and boxes that came in different buildings. As we go down, Best Buy is the tripod up there. Jessica Bostrom is a refund. Lego was canceled due to lack of enrollment. Ann Cavode's a reimbursement for a commissioner's course. Evanston Lumber, wood for tables and shelves. You see the shelves right here built for camp. Keep us semi-organized. Kelly Froelich, refund. As I go down, Learn for Life, CPR, we certified 16 counselors and directors and full-time staff in the last 3 weeks. Russo Ace Hardware, that's the lawnmower we bought for $11,400 plus a few other things, one being a grabber to pick up garbage. Target, day camp, and first aid kits that went in all the boxes into every camp. Davis is a refund for steam. And Walmart, Art and Time Traveler camp supplies.
The Ace Hardware? The Ace Hardware?
Mm-hmm.
The 11,000? That's the mower, right?
What's that?
Is that the mower?
I'm sorry.
Yes. That's the lawn mower?
Yeah,
Yes.
Russo Ace
Yeah.
Hardware, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not
And the-
Lemoy.
Yeah. And the $100 HR Mentor?
Right.
Is that a consultant?
Yeah.
Okay.
I gotta keep it away from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, to help us set up ways I deal with employees when there's an issue.
Okay, thank you. I move that we accept the corporate monthly bills of June 8, 2017 for the amount of $24,522.84.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, petty cash?
Petty cash is a big one. $200 to the city of Evanston, water permit, so we can water bushes, trees, and the rose garden. If you haven't noticed, we need rain. Grass is starting to turn brown. Anyways, we're going to get a water permit July, August, and probably September. And then Evanston Police Department, $10 for a fingerprint background check.
Move to accept the petty cash on the June 7, 2017 board meeting report of $210.
Second.
All in favor? Okay. Monthly reports. Natalie, you're first.
Great. So it's not in this, but I just wanted to let you know, this month we're celebrating LGBTQ month, Pride. So our spotlight this month is on Mario Trito Jr., who serves the city of Evanston as the assistant city attorney. Just a little bit about Mario. The National LGBT Bar Association will highlight Mario's professional and philanthropic accomplishments at the 2017 National LGBT Bar Association Annual Conference. The LGBT Bar recognizes LGBT legal professionals under the age of 40 who have distinguished themselves in their field and have demonstrated a profound commitment to LGBT equality. He's drafted various ordinances and resolutions here in Evanston, including updating the Human Rights Ordinance and creating a gender-neutral restroom ordinance in collaboration with the state of Illinois. He's also active in the Chicagoland community, serving on the board of directors and vice chair and secretary for the Howard Brown Health. And then he's also, which is the Midwest's largest LGBT health and social service provider, which is exciting. Also something that is not in my report, we hired a minute taker. Julie Larson is our new minute taker. She lives here in the district. She's on family vacation this month, but she will be with us next month. We're very happy to have her with us. As you can see, camps have begun. The staff is really fantastic. I'm really excited to be working with all of them. So far, so good. All of our camp directors are really pleased with their counselors, and of course, I'm pleased with the camp directors, so all is well. We also start mini camps. We do have some room left in our mini camps in case anybody were to ask you. We canceled one of our Lego camps because we didn't have as many of the older kids interested, but we have expanded the first one that we're doing next week to incorporate some of the older kids. So that's going well. Laura Downey and I are also working together to create a new dance camp, which will be the first week of August. Her classes are very, very popular here, her dance classes, so I think this is going to be very successful. It'll be a 2-hour camp actually in the morning for the 3 to 4-year-olds, and then in the afternoon we'll do either a 2.5 or a 3-hour camp for 5 to 8-year-olds. We're running 6 adult classes this summer: Align, Strength and Stretch, Feldenkrais, 2 yoga classes, mindful writing practice, and Zumba Gold. Those started this Monday, and those are going well. On June 4th, we did our first demo class for Pound, which was awesome, and I encourage everyone to come when we demo it in July. It's a really great rhythmic workout where you use ripsticks. I told you about it last time. It's great. Come. We had like 15 people show up, which was really awesome. And then I've also started working with our graphic designer, Sarin, on our fall-winter brochure. I'm trying to get that out just a little bit early this year because we're running 2 fall class sessions. So that will hopefully be out beginning mid-July. Farmers Market also started this week. It's been a very busy week. The Farmers Market runs June 7th through October 11th on Wednesdays from 3:30 until 7. We have 4 or 5 confirmed vendors. 3 of them will be with us for all 19 sessions, which is really exciting. We have a few dates booked for the book bike to join us, and I spoke with Gomez Farr, and they're going to play a few times this summer as well, so it's going to be a great market. Custer Fair is June 17th and 18th. Debbie's going to work with me one of the days. Sarah Lena Kamholtz, who's one of our instructors and camp counselors, camp directors, excuse me, is also going to work, and then Hannah, who's one of our counselors, is also going to help out. If any of you would like to come, let me know. We'll probably be there those 2 days from about 10 a.m. until 5 p.m. So if you want to come sit and talk to people, I would love to have you join us. And then these are some dates just to keep in mind for the summer. In addition to our Shakespeare on the Ridge series, we are adding a Concerts on the Ridge series, which you've heard me talk a little bit about. This is the final schedule for that. So Mudlark Theater is opening 12th night. They're running June 21st to the 25th. The Arc Theater is doing Taming of the Shrew, and we run July 22nd through August 13th. And that's for our Shakespeare series. For our concert series, we have Yuta and the High Dukes performing on the 5th. The Ridgeville Band is playing on Sunday the 9th. African Kings are playing on July 4th, along with Tenuta Orchestra following them. We have Annie Andrews and an Irish folk band that's playing on July 19th. And then on the 26th, we have the School of Rock. So it's gonna be great. I'm very excited. I encourage you to come and tell your friends. Yes?
A couple of questions,
Yes.
Natalie. One, I don't know if you got the email, but Alderwoman Fleming from the 9th Ward, she was asking our park district if we would be interested in collaborating with the city police department to do an event in one of our parks on August 1st. So if it's okay, can I ask that maybe you
Yeah, for sure.
connect with her?
Yeah.
It's one of these city events where they are asking the community to come out and own in a safe way our community. So it's a way to bring the community out, but to keep it safe and focus on a safe community.
Yeah.
So she's got some ideas, maybe food truck or something. But
That's great. You can connect.
First night, right?
First night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan,
August 1st.
I forwarded that email. to
Yeah,
you.
I got it.
So
Great.
thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Natalie, go ahead. You're not
The
done?
second question I had was, last month I asked about the employee zip codes.
Yes.
And I was wondering if you could just give us some feedback on that.
We do.
I have it.
All right, cool.
We have that information.
Thank you. Thank you.
So Custer Street Fair, so what we've
Yes.
done in the past is we've done a couple hours or 2 to 4 hours for the rest of the commissioners, so.
Okay.
I'd love to do that again. if,
Yay, good.
So you
Ooh,
sound like you
thanks.
have it all set up.
I have some people coming just to
So
kind
it'll be
of.
manned if we
It
could-
will be manned if you
Okay.
cannot come,
Okay.
but I would love for you to be there, so. Yeah, if there's a day, I think Sunday,
Okay.
if you're available on that Sunday,
Okay,
and you wanna come sit with me, I will be there all of the time, so.
thank you.
So come and sit with me.
The zip codes.
Pass
Are
it.
the zip codes done, are they done person zip code or are they done groups? Or do you have a zip code on each kid's name?
I didn't hear
Yes, we do,
And what
yes.
if the person's under 18?
that.
Does that, I mean, if I were a parent of an under 18-year-old, I don't think I'd want the zip code out, you know? How is that legal?
I believe there was conversation about that.
What I miss?
Is it okay to put the zip code next to the minor's name?
So what's going on? Because I wasn't here the last.
Dan requested zip codes to see where our staff lives, apparently, and
So are we talking about staff?
yes,
So not the kids?
We have minor staff under 18.
Counselors.
Oh.
Counselors.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Counselors,
They use in the park.
yeah.
Yeah, I think they're a public employee.
So their zip code can go
I
to,
don't think there's any reason that couldn't be revealed.
okay.
I'll look into it, but I don't think,
Oh, it's been revealed already. so-
Yeah.
He's got it. so-
I'd asked that you be contacted before this was done. Were you contacted
No.
this month
this
about
is
that?
the first I heard of it.
Seems to me that, yeah, I'm not comfortable with it. I'd like to know from you before he takes the list.
Can you get us an official word?
Yes, I can.
That'd be great.
Thank you. All right, Jerry?
Okay, handed out a packet of reports. My apologies, I thought I had also copied the typewritten version of my notes, but I didn't, so I'm making those. Looking at the outstandings report, we are coming into the last month of the fiscal year. What I'm concerned with this time of year is outstandings that may cause concern for the year-end audit. We have 4 items, that's down from about a dozen that we had a couple months ago, so Diligent work was done to clear a bunch off, and yet we still have 4 that remain. 3 of them are checks that are more than a year old. I don't know the dates on the checks. I've been asking for information as to when were these checks originally issued, to know how close are we to having to give the money to the state as unclaimed property. One of them is for an electronic payment of a paycheck that was double posted, and we need to try and back out the double posting of the tax monies and the salary. But now that we've come to year end, it will be too late to do that, so we'll have to, after the year end, probably write that one off. The others are relatively recent, and they're just kind of the normal course of business type of outstanding items we have. So I don't have a lot of concern about those at this point. Appropriations ledger is the next report I'll chat about. Our budget utilization is targeted to be at about 88% this time of year, and if you look overall, we're sitting at 72%, which makes it seem like we're doing quite well. We're coming into our busy season as far as wages and the camp expenses, all the summer programming. So June will be a heavy month in that regard, but still, it looks really good, except when you start to really study it and realize we've got the $79,000 of CDBG money that has not been spent and won't be spent before year end. Plus, we had another $25,000 of our own money contributing to that project in Brummel Park that can't be spent because the CDBG money can't be spent. So if you back those figures out, and readjust everything, we are actually sitting at a utilization of about 85% overall, and the recreation fund sitting at 81%. From a budget standpoint, going into June, that would look pretty good. It would say that we're probably going to end the year comfortably within budget. It's unlikely that we would go over. I'll talk in a minute about, kind of the alternative viewpoint that doesn't support that as much. You'll see there's some overages in CA 53 and LA 24, which are both insurance accounts. That's because we paid a big bill in May, and our year-end accounting will accrue out those overages because of the way that it's accounted for. So those differences will disappear before year-end and come in as money for next year to cover the insurance costs for the first 10 months of the year. The statements, you've also got the balance sheets and the trial balance. I don't have anything to comment on those. I've turned attention to the statement of revenue and appropriations. What's kind of worthwhile to do there is to compare the revenue over appropriations, the bottom line, to the unexpended budget dollars on the appropriations ledger. If you look at the corporate fund, we've got revenue over appropriations of about $63,000. That should fairly closely match our unexpended money in the corporate fund. That's sitting at $44,000, which suggests we're probably going to have a $20,000 surplus or something in that ballpark if the run rate of revenue and expenses runs the same in June as it has up to this point. That's not necessarily a valid assumption, but we look in pretty good shape. The recreation fund is a lot more problematic. From a revenue to expenses viewpoint, we've only got $75,000 overage, but we've got $188,000 unexpended funds. But when you start to back out the CDBG effects, we actually look like we'll be lucky to break even and may even be in deficit up by about $30,000 for the recreation fund. Why is that? One of the things is if you go up and start to see, well, where doesn't our revenue match the plan? Program revenue was projected to be $100,000 for the year, count C105. We're only showing up to this point $70,000. So we've got about a $30,000 shortfall in revenue from the programs. That's something I chatted with Brian about. We're going to sit down next week and see if we can identify why are we having that little surprise so late in the season here. It's harder to track prior to our getting into the summer programming because we know we're going to get money there, but as opposed to the fiscal year end, it really stands out because there's a shortfall for some reason there. So that's somewhat of a concern. The minor funds, IMRF, Social Security, liability insurance, they are all right where they should be. If you compare the two, they're within small dollar amounts of each other. So we look pretty good. The other thing I'll comment, kind of just where this is a bit of an imperfect study, is our tax revenues don't match up. We got a timing issue. So when we made the budget for the appropriations and we said, and here's the corresponding tax levy, well, we've spent the appropriations, but we've only brought in half of the tax levy. The rest isn't going to come until the next fiscal year. We've been getting by because we're bringing in last year's tax levy this year. And it's not a perfect match in terms, for a couple of reasons. One, the budget isn't the same as it was. And then the proportion of money going to the various funds can be different as we, one year maybe spend more money out of corporate and another year spend more money out of recreation. So little distortions build up because of that. The other reason it's not a perfect match is there's other timing issues. We basically get our tax revenues in two big clumps in the year, but our expenses evenly, or more or less evenly, spread out throughout the year. So we're done getting revenue for the year, but we've still got expenses happening for the year. So you think you got a lot of revenue and suddenly in the last month have it all disappear because of the expenses. It's going to be close, but overall across all funds, I think we'll be okay. Where we're really not looking very healthy at the moment is in the recreation fund. Looking ahead to the next year, taking our levy ordinance and following it through the process, you've got a report that says draft, draft, draft across the top. That was just released this week from the Cook County Clerk's office. That is called the levy rate report. What it's showing is what was our ask as far as our levy ordinance. How did the PTEL law apply to that as matched up against the property assessments from the assessor's office, and what were we, plus they layer in a loss provision, and then compute whether we've asked for more money than we're entitled to. The good news is we planned it real well this year, like we did last year. We came within 0.003 percentage points of what we could have asked for, or somewhat less than $2,000. If we'd asked for $2,000 more, we would have had our hands slapped and said, no, you're going above what you're allowed. So on a $640,000 budget, to be within $2,000 of the allowed ask, that was pretty good guesswork on our part.
Jerry, excuse me, this came from the Cook County Assessor's Office?
Cook County Clerk.
Thanks.
This is the last step before the property tax bills for the fall payment are generated.
I just had a question about that extra amount we had for Brummel. You were going to check on whether or not we could roll
I
that over.
have more discussion to have about that, but seeing that we've got Brummel on the agenda further down, I was going to hold off on my remarks until then, or we can get into that now.
No, that's
it's your
fine.
choice.
I mean, I guess I just wondered how that worked into the budget.
Yeah, I got thoughts and comments on that as well.
Jerry, my takeaway is, it sounds like the corporate, about 20,000
Looking
surplus,
right now, yeah.
with the recreation, about 30,000 deficit. Overall, 10,000 deficit, maybe, we won't know really until maybe.
We have a lot of moving
September.
variables
Yeah.
between now and the end of June.
But for our community that's here tonight and those listening, our fiscal year ends the end of this month.
Right.
So what we're talking about is we're real close to breaking even
Right.
this fiscal year.
Yeah, on the one hand, from the appropriations ledger standpoint, it says we've done a really good job of managing to our budget. Okay. From a revenue versus expenses standpoint, we've got a problem only because we've got a revenue shortfall.
Right. And we won't know that exact figure probably until September-ish.
We'll have a pretty good sense of it by the July meeting. Then we still have some accruals that happen as a result of, we're going to have some bills that we're going to pay in July that are going to get backdated into June. That's going to hurt the June numbers. And we're going to have some more in August to a lesser extent. The final numbers will be available sometime in September. but the percentage of adjustment gets smaller as time passes. We'll be in a really strong. Now, the other thing that's not in those numbers and not in the September numbers is we still won't have the auditor's accounting of depreciation and pension accounting. So we can do everything right and look like we're right on the money, but then the pension accounting and depreciation can decline the fund balances by the time the annual report comes out. We can't really control that. We just can balance to the ordinances you pass and.
Do you have all the program revenue though? Is all the program revenue from the camps this summer?
That's where Brian and I need to sit down and try and figure out why does it look like program revenues so short compared to the expectation he had, so.
80% of our revenue comes via credit card over the computer. So we're gonna go backwards and see if our numbers match.
You know, we'll look at that, we'll look how much has been reduced because of scholarships, we'll look at how much has been reduced because of refunds. You know, it just could be that as we've marched through the year, we haven't realized we've turned back or turned away because of cancellations or whatever as much as we have. So it could be a lot of different things or accumulation of a bunch of little things.
Do you have that PTEL number yet, or?
For the upcoming budget year, I forget the exact amount, but it's right around 2%, whether it's 2.1 or 2.5 or, no, it's not 2.5, 2.1 or 2.05.
When do you get that number?
It's out, I just don't have that report with me tonight.
Okay.
Yeah, I have like a folder of open items I usually bring with me, and I didn't bring that folder with me tonight. But that number is known, it's published at the State of Illinois website. And so we'll have it in the budget planning process.
Okay.
Now, that said, you know, we're all excited because we've got a nice CPI to work with this year after several years of really tight CPI budget restrictions. But the state legislature has passed through the Senate and hasn't gotten it all the way through the process, plans to freeze the taxes. So, in which case it would be zero. So we don't know what's going on. No change, zero growth. And that will, you know, on an unfortunate choice of words, that will trump the CPI number.
In fact, I was at the IAPD boot camp last week, and they were saying to contact your legislators about that, opposing it.
I think it would be a great thing if every commissioner wrote all of our legislators and told them how a property tax freeze would hurt the district. You know, you're trying to. We as a small district like this, if you take away revenue from us or prevent us from generating the revenue we need to operate, we either have to cut staff or we have to cut capital improvements. When we cut capital improvements, we have situations like Romo Park where we have to take the equipment out and the kids have nothing to play on. If we cut the staff, we can't run the camps, which means we don't have programs to support the kids. So who are you helping here? You're hurting kids in a district that isn't, you know, of as great a means as some of the other districts around. So I think that's a message you all could individually deliver and add weight to the argument. That's a bad idea.
Thanks.
Okay, Brian?
Okay. Most of my report has been covered or stolen by Natalie, I'm kidding. But I'll highlight a few things that should be said. Getting ready for the summer camps. Natalie has done a fantastic job organizing directors, placing orders, getting paperwork in order. Ruben, Marcos, and Louise, our permanent part-time summer help, has done a great job getting the buildings ready, building shelves, whatever we need. So they've done a wonderful job. You may have read that the city of Evanston's in the process of testing all drinking fountains. They tested ours. Wonderful working relationship. Thank you to the water department. One failed, and that's Leiter Park. And the guideline is 15 parts per billion lead count, and it was upper 20s parts per billion. At any rate, wonderful employee for the city of Evanston, Tim Bardis, came over. We walked the parks. We checked the Buffalo boxes where the meters are, so you see what's coming in and what's going out. Lighter will be fixed in the next month. Coming from the street service to the meter is lead, and that's going to be replaced with copper. Every one of our parks, from the meter to the fountain, is copper. So we're good. So when that's fixed, they'll all be under 15 parts per billion. Brummel Park was under 15 parts, but it was like 12. Everything else was under 5 parts per billion. Now you may ask, if there's copper coming in and copper going out, where's the lead coming from? It could be in the fountain, in the mechanisms. They're all lead-free. We changed them years ago, last 3 or 4 years. So that's not where it's coming from. The minor lead that we might be getting is solder connecting copper to copper. And the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency says anything under 15 parts per billion, you're good. The water department's going to send me an email, tell me I can turn 4 of them on, and then we're good to go, waiting for a repair at Lighter. Lighter will stay off until it's fixed.
Are we going to incur any cost at Lighter?
What's that?
Any cost for us at Lighter?
No, not unless, when the lead's changed by the city, which it's their responsibility, street to the sidewalk.
Sure.
If the lead count's still high, then we got to scratch our head and see where it's coming from. But it won't, because it's all copper, and it'll be under 5, 4, 3 parts per billion. But I got to commend Vicki over there, Eleanor, and Tim at the water department. Fantastic. So.
When do you think you'll have the letter from the city to say we can turn it back on?
I'm waiting for that, for the other 4.
Next week, maybe?
Oh, no, he promised me it this week, but I haven't gotten it. We just don't want to put anybody at risk.
Just so you know, 17 fountains in 17 parks have been turned off. So it's not just you. And it's not in the water. It's the water goes through that puts the lead in the water and it comes out of the faucet. So this should clear it up.
Could be fixed.
Yeah, it's fixable, thank God.
Yeah. It's not coming from the Lake Michigan to the water department.
No,
It's all
the
good.
lead isn't in the lake.
Again, great people, great help. As we go down, there's some dates. Natalie's already covered them, but I want to make sure everybody knows that Truck Fest is Tuesday, July 18th at Brummel Park. That'll be packed. Put that on your calendar. She already mentioned it was in the bills, CPR AED training. So virtually everybody here, 90-some% of people are certified in CPR AED. There's no law that says you have to be, so we are almost as good as you can be. And God forbid we ever have to use it, but we have AED in here, AED at Cayman. Also, scholarships given, 19 requests, $5,332.50 given.
Can you repeat that?
What's that?
Repeat that.
Sure. 19 requests, $5,332.50 awarded in financial aid to summer program.
So all 19 got something?
What's that?
All 19 got
All
something?
19 got something.
Wonderful.
And then I need a motion. Every June we pass prevailing wage. State statute, state law tells us what we have to pay on projects. You can't change it, you can't argue it, you just need to pass it.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
You need to sign it.
Brian, what was the Truck Fest?
What's that?
Concert.
The Truck Fest, that's a concert?
Yeah, the concert.
That's not in this special events. that
Can't
you
hear.
listed in
It's
your-
a city event, technically, but it's in Brummel Park.
Starlight Concert.
It's not on the list. It's on July 18th.
July 18th. It's my fault not putting it there.
So it's the one with the.
Food truck fest.
It's not all a truck, was it always Truck Fest? Because it was a food.
It's a food truck fest.
Food truck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Starlight Concert Series.
Yeah, it's great.
You can get Mexican, you can get a good burger, you can get,
If you get there,
Dessert.
you gotta get there early.
some of them sell out and leave. It's a
And then they're
wonderful event.
also, they're doing a movie in the park too in August.
Yes, late August.
Zootopia.
And we'll give you those dates too.
And Brian, can you let us know, the scholarships, $5,332, did that come from the foundation? Or that was
Just-
our gifting?
Just our gifting
district,
discount.
okay.
The foundation's donating money this year to the concert series.
Got it, okay.
Is there a report from Anna?
What-
Does Anna have a report? No, okay. Capital improvements, Lighter Park, do you have anything?
Next month, I might,
Okay,
something next month.
okay. I'll report on the art studio. Just to catch everybody up, we have been exploring different options for the art studio behind us. And so we've had an architect do some drawings for us to possibly look at different options to create a theater pavilion there. And so we had a meeting with a couple of the theater heads, Mike Miro and Mark Borgers, and Natalie was there, and also Justin from our foundation, and then Pat and I. So this group of notes here will tell you kind of what we discussed at the meeting, what the response from the theater directors were. So we took all of those things into account, and but also just talked about what we can do just immediately. And so some of the suggestions were to get bleachers out in the back for the productions. So Brian has actually decided to move the bleachers from, it's over at
Cayman East.
Cayman, and we're going to move those over for the productions.
For 5 days.
Both of them or just one of them? Just one of them? There's
Oh,
Two.
both bleachers,
both bleachers?
one production.
Yeah, for 5 days. And then it goes right back.
The silver bleachers, is that it?
What's that?
The silver bleachers?
Yes.
Okay.
So we're going to do that for those productions. And then also they were just saying that the second floor of that space right now was just in horrible shape. And so Ruben and Marcos have actually gone in and cleaned it out a little bit and organized. Some of the other thoughts were that if we were to renovate the building, the stairs really aren't in the right place. There's no bathroom out there. There's just a lot of issues with the building as it is. The heater doesn't work. So just weighing whether or not tearing it down completely and rebuilding or renovating what we have. So we're going to look at both of those options. This architect has been very generous with his time to just put these drawings together. And so as far as moving forward with this, I was trying to think of, well, what can we do in the next year, because we're going into a new budget year. So what I thought we could do is have the architect further explore either renovating or rebuilding the building. And then I think having a survey of Ridgeville residents to see what their response to something like that would be. Get out in the community or send an email survey out just to see what the interest is there. And then maybe hold a meeting here where we would talk to people about, what they'd like to see or what would be appropriate. And then talk about one of the things that both of the theater heads said is that there's actually a shortage of theaters in the Chicago area. And Natalie can attest to this, but people are looking for places to rent. And so, just maybe look at a feasibility study on whether or not this could bring in more revenue to the Park District. And then I just think that we should put somewhat of a budget together to move forward with this. I mean, because if we go through this whole next year, I mean, even if we want to renovate the space, we need to have some funds put towards that. So I'd like to suggest that we put like $5,000 towards that as far as exploring or, you know, moving forward with it.
As part of next year's budget, sorry.
Part of next year's budget.
Yeah, okay.
And then you can look at it more carefully. I mean, I've got some drawings here. One of the drawings is a later version that just has Theater Pavilion on it. Originally, we had talked with Mudlark about possibly having them be in there kind of in residence. But after talking further, it's really more where it would just be a number of theaters. So, and then just the explanation is, you know, what the architect thought when he was designing it, and just the response from the meeting.
So a number of theaters as far as use, as far as?
Yeah, use.
Okay.
So, what about Brummel?
Yeah, the bleachers are gonna be moved for 5 days. Which performance is that?
It's for 12th night, so they'll be there June 21st to the 25th.
Okay, thanks.
Brummel?
Oh, Brummel, okay. Let me take these off. Brummel Park CDBG, Ann Rainey's here. I thanked her several times. CDBG's been delayed, but I'm gonna thank her again. You all got a copy of this email last month. Basically, what we're waiting on is hope to sign a city agreement by late summer. And then, in the meantime, I'm gonna get everything I can get together in terms of writing up some of the bid pages, and then you attach that to the agreement, put it out to bid. Hopefully we get it done by late fall. The only, well, not the only thing, but a few things that could hold us back is I can't order the equipment until I sign that agreement, unless somebody wants to give me $40,000. But at any rate, we have to wait. We have to be patient. And Sarah Flax has been wonderful. Nora, CDBG, great working relationship. But we have to bide our time and wait for everything to happen. Federal government to the city, city back to the federal government, city agreements to grant holders or grant winners, I guess. And hopefully it doesn't get sliced up by Trump or anybody else before it gets here. But at any rate, so then we'll get it out, and hopefully late fall it should be complete.
And you're having an inspection every week on the equipment, just to be sure?
Every Wednesday we're inspecting the existing play circuit. Just so you know, Ann, as soon as we get that city agreement, that wooden structure's coming out ASAP. It's got some issues, but it's being inspected weekly, and all its issues are below grade. It's old. I think 1988.
And what's your comment, Jerry?
Related to budget issues and the capital improvement fund, I had several conversations in the last month. You remember last month I said I would probably be coming forward with recommendations from motion, and that I had needed to have a conversation with Kate Moulton, our auditor. I've talked with her, I've talked with Dean Skane, about just historically why were things done the way they are, and what are the options for changing them. Today, we take CDBG grant revenue into the recreation fund directly, even if it's for a capital project. One question I had was, can we take CDBG revenue directly into the capital improvement fund? And the answer I got from the auditors was yes, if it is for capital projects. Obviously, it wouldn't be allowed for a CDBG grant where we were getting money to run a program or something. But typically, we're doing capital projects with that money, so it would make sense to do it. What would that do for us? All this recalculating of numbers, tracking all year long on the budget because the CDBG money wasn't in, and all the confusion we've had all year long would go away, because that money would be segregated and separate all year long, so we could see purely the revenue, recreation operating budget and how we're doing all year long without having to make an adjustment by making that. Yeah. So in the next iteration of the draft budget, I'm going to work with Brian. We're going to move the revenue for the CDBG into the capital fund, out of the recreation fund. We'll move the appropriations line item out of the recreation fund into the capital fund. That takes care of that problem. Second problem we have is, in the current budget year, we levy taxes to expend on on Brummel Park improvements that were going to be our side contribution to the project. We've raised the revenue, but we've not expended the money, and the way the appropriations process works, the authority to do that goes away at the end of this year. That money just goes into the fund balance, and you've got to next year find a new way to raise the money again. One way around that would be to transfer money from the recreation fund to the capital improvement fund and earmark it for the Brummel project. One of the issues is when we put money in the capital improvement fund, it must be earmarked for a project. It can't just be a piggy bank that you build up for a rainy day. It's got to have a targeted project the money is going towards. The second concern I had, and why I've asked the question, was I'd always been told we could only do fund transfers out of the corporate fund, that we could not touch. You can't take money out of the Social Security fund, for example, and move it somewhere else. But the recreation fund, if it was for a recreation capital improvement, we can move it over to the capital improvement fund if the capital improvement project it's earmarked for is a recreation-related project. So we couldn't take it to do something that would be a corporate level thing, but a clearly designated recreation project we could do. So that would be our way around the funding issue a bit. Now,
Should we do that this month, or?
Yeah.
Should we make a
Absolutely
motion
done
for that?
so I will email out to you the 2 pages I didn't get photocopied and hand out to you. I had typed up 2 alternative proposals for a motion, which I'll read to you in a second here. The first proposal just says, take $25,000 from the recreation fund and move it over. The issue with that is if we really are in as tight a situation with the recreation fund as it would appear we might be with what we know tonight from the financials, we would be pushing the recreation fund to a lower end of year balance than we began the year with. That's, an allowable thing. You can do that. It's not a good practice to be in the habit of doing all the time. But if it's a calculated decision on the part of the board to do that and recognize why we're doing it and strive to not repeat that on an ongoing pattern, it's not a crazy thing to consider doing. So that's the simplest one, is to just say it and do it that way. The alternative way would be to say, it looks like we're going to run a bit of a surplus in the capital fund. We can repurpose, not capital, corporate fund. The general fund, we can repurpose any way we want, anytime we want. It looks like we're going to run a bit of a surplus. So the second wording said, to the extent that the money's not there from the recreation fund to transfer the money over from the corporate fund. If we run into deficit there, you could run the corporate fund down, or you could just say, stop. If all we got is $20,000, just transfer $20,000, not $25,000. So those are kind of what your options are. I'll read the language I had written. We can discuss it, and then if somebody wants to amend it or propose that, we can do it, or if you don't want to do it, that's fine too.
What's your recommendation, the second one?
I think the second one is a pretty logical one. It sounds the most complicated, but it's not that difficult for me to manage. First one says, the board authorizes the treasurer to transfer $25,000 from the recreation fund to the capital improvement fund for the purpose of improvements to Brummel Park related to planned CDBG improvements for Brummel Park. So it's just a flat $25,000. Second one says, board authorizes the treasurer to transfer up to $25,000 from the recreation fund. All the other language is the same. In the event that such transfer would result in a reduction in the recreation fund balance for the year, the treasurer is authorized to transfer up to $25,000 from the corporate fund to the recreation fund to avoid such a reduction. And as long as such transfer does not result in a reduction in the corporate fund balance for the fiscal year, excluding depreciation and pension accounting.
So moved.
So I think this is a one-time situation. This is just a unique, because the funds weren't there when we expected them, we're moving it 1 year basically. So I think that's, you know, it's not like this is going to be an event, right?
Right.
You want a second?
Yeah, I will second that. I will second the second motion.
Yeah.
The second,
Second motion. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
But we just need the estimate for the
Thanks, Chair.
Okay, old business. Pat, videotaping of public board meetings?
Well, I just think, to kind of answer to Wellington, this has been on the agenda for about the last 6 or 7 months, Wellington, and I think you were here at one of the meetings where you expressed your dissatisfaction with being filmed. We've had this conversation multiple times. In the meantime, Ridgeville is now filming the meetings as of 2 months ago, as of last month. We've had conversations with Mr. Coyne. He's not willing to respect the wishes of the residents who wish not to be filmed. He's made that clear in previous meetings, and I don't exactly know what the board can do to change that. He did sign the Commissioner Code of Conduct a couple of months ago. There's nothing in there specifically about filming videotaping residents. So we're sort of at a spot where the attorney has said it's okay in the past. So we're not sure how to deal with it at this point. And I think, you know, if other board members have a comment,
I'm wondering if we can't, I mean, I know that Commissioner Coyne is not going to stop. So I was just wondering if we could not have, like, I don't know if you have a vote or something, just so that it's laid out that the rest of us, if the rest of us agree, you know, and listen to the residents. We don't agree with them filming, and I would like it put in the minutes. I mean, it's not going to stop, but I just would really, I'd like the residents to know that the rest of us are trying, or whoever is trying.
I appreciate a chance to give some feedback. It has been a long process that I think has been a healthy democracy dialogue. At times it's gotten heated and emotional, but I think overall, I think it's been a good process. The way I measure that is it's constitutionally protected activity. That's a fact. Secondly, it's been a collaborative effort by our board to try to tweak how we could live stream our meetings to our community in a functional way. And I think the progress we've made in the last couple of meetings has been phenomenal. I'm very happy with it. Our stated agreement the last couple of months was we would try the district's live streaming through, I think, Natalie's phone and the website of our park district. And just so you know, Natalie and I have had, I think, pretty good conversations, and we've helped each other try to prepare our devices to see if that would work. Last month, unfortunately, it didn't work for the district's live streaming. And part of that is Natalie's learning how to do it. It takes a little bit of skill and application on your phone, but also it has to do with the Wi-Fi signal, and so we're not sure if that's the best spot. We're testing it out tonight. The good news is, last month, my particular live streaming did work, and we had about 300 residents watch our meeting last month, and I think that's good for democracy. The more people that are aware of what's going on in government, I think, is better. And so I do have a lot of hope that eventually we'll be able to work out the kinks and end up with a pretty guaranteed way to do that through the district. But right now we're still tweaking that. Is that your understanding, Nellie?
Yeah. I mean, it is. That's fair. My live stream did work last time, but it kind of came in and out with the Wi-Fi. So it also did not work tonight, so I'm just recording this, and I will then immediately post it to Facebook when I'm finished. So this is not a live stream on mine. People can't watch this as it's happening, but as soon as the meeting's over, I'm going to post it to Facebook so then they can see it from our account.
Well, I guess I'm still asking for the same thing because I don't hear Commissioner Coyne saying he's gonna stop.
Would you like to make a motion?
Yes, I need help. I'd like to make a motion that the board vote. Is that what we're doing, a vote?
I think you have to form your own motion.
Okay, did the board vote on our feeling on whether we approve of another commissioner taping? Because, you know, in reference to how many residents have asked over and over again, and I think we have a responsibility to the residents to listen to them, the ones that are here. So I guess my motion is to vote on whether the board, as a board, approves of Commissioner Coyne's personal taping.
Do I have a second?
So I think we need to clean that.
Yeah.
Along the lines of, if Ridgeville is taping, whether it's live streaming or taping, to be posted immediately after the meeting. If we do that and can successfully do that, I would move that that's what we do, and there's no other filming by board members of the audience that has asked not to be videotaped. It's being filmed, and in this result, there's no comments that can be made as currently exist with Commissioner Coyne doing his taping. And I think that's what many people object to, that those comments can be edited and streamed at some point to whatever, you know, they or he would like to do.
Well, I think also that a commissioner who just takes it on his phone can put it on YouTube, can
Right.
cut it, can do whatever. And, I mean, if somebody in the audience is taping it, I know it's legal, it's all legal, and we can't stop it. But as a commissioner, I would like to see the rest of the board make a comment on how they feel about it, and then get back to whatever.
What about a motion along the lines of if we're videotaping this meeting,
Right.
that another commissioner shall not videotape the meeting?
Is a motion going to stop Dan? Because that's what we're.
Well, I doubt it, I mean, you can ask him, but I would like to see it in the minutes, and I would like to see it on the video that goes on our Facebook, that the rest of, or whoever, of the commissioners do not agree with this kind of disrespect of the community residents.
Well, if once Natalie, the way I heard it, at least from Dan from the last couple of months, once this gets up and running, and it's running very well when it's posted, I think Dan.
But it is running well tonight because she's recording it, so there's no problem. It's going to be put on right after the meeting and Dan's.
I think we're talking about FaceTime Live, and I think at least in terms of just getting a clarity on what's going on, we're talking about FaceTime Live versus recording.
Well, I
because Brian is also recording, so we're talking about FaceTime Live. Now, I'm not an expert in FaceTime. You know, when I ran for office, I was, on FaceTime more than I ever was, and I'm off it now at the moment. But my point is that FaceTime Live it's a great tool because it allows people to access it right at the moment. I don't have cable. I can't watch the city council meeting, so I have to go there if I want to get the meeting, or I have to wait the next day to actually get the meeting. But what FaceTime Live can do is allow you to go on about your life and also simultaneously be at that meeting as well if you wanted to view it. Or you can view it at a later time. So I just wanted to make that point.
Yeah, no, I understand that. So I guess I don't see the reason for it being absolutely FaceTime Live if it's going on the original Facebook and people can access it when they want.
Well, this is new, and I think Dan or anyone can actually go to a city council meeting and do that as well. But if someone was doing it on the dais, yeah, that would be disruptive. I'm just saying that point.
I agree.
It would be disruptive. Now, my personal opinion is I don't like it either. But constitutionally, I can't do anything about that.
I guess my motion is more to the fact that, in the code of conduct, we respect the residents, we listen to the other board members. I'd like to find out if the rest of the board feels you know, if we don't approve of him doing it, but he's saying, I'm gonna do it anyway. I just want it said, I want it in the minutes, I want people who watch it to hear that we're fighting for what they want. So that's my thing, and I don't think it really matters if it's live or people can look at it.
Well, I don't think we need a
In and
motion
out.
for, if we just go ahead
I would
and
like
voice
to hear how,
ourselves.
I would like,
Yes, I'll make a motion.
I would like to hear how the rest of the board feels, because if it's unanimous, I think that makes a big difference. So I think people need to let it be known, maybe it doesn't bother you, so that's fine.
Well, I just said that I don't like it.
That's the last, Anna said it in the past.
I mean,
Yeah.
but
4 board members that are
Yeah,
against
that
it.
are against it. So,
Well, I'd
mean,
like
you
to
never
say-
said it, that's true, Rob, I'm sorry.
Sorry.
go ahead.
I have to say that I'd rather have our park district be the one doing it and that be the official posting, but I have a hard time voting on something that could be unconstitutional. So
So
I
from my
can't,
perspective, I would request that you make it clear on whether you're prohibiting him from doing it or whether you're just voting to request that he not do it.
Voting to request that he not do it, because legally we all know that he can, correct?
Is that right?
I would think that would be a good bet.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion that we vote to request that Dan not personally on his telephone videotape the meeting.
I'll second.
Is that, did that make sense, Dan?
Do you want a roll call?
Well, we could have discussion.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. I appreciate also, Ann, your leadership in the last couple of months, having conversations with me on how we could meet some of these requests. And I think that you and I came up with a good plan that once we can tweak this and it's working live stream from the district's point of view so that anyone in the world can watch a board meeting while it's happening, I'm spot on. And once I'm confident and you're confident that that's working, I'm good. I don't need to do this. My whole point is letting people watch us while we're meeting live stream.
I'd still like this one.
I guess my feeling about it is I don't feel like we're in a place to coerce someone about their rights. So I would say that publicly, I'd say that I would prefer you don't, but I'm not going to.
That's what we're asking, what the board prefers to say. So it's when constituents say to me, I'll be honest, you know, how come this is still happening? I can say there's nothing we can do about it, but you saw that this many people prefer that it doesn't happen.
I guess I just have a hard time seeing that as a vote.
Well, how else?
It's a
does it-
request, it's not really a
Well,
vote.
we've
Or like a
requested it for
resolution, yeah,
months.
or like a resolution or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah,
I know what you mean, yeah.
Not a vote, something else. But I mean, for months, it's been discussed and asked, and it just gets sort of, now this time it's this, you know, and next time it'll be something else. So I just, however you think it should be done.
I will say that's the first time I've heard, you know, Commissioner Point say he's not going to do it once we were operating. We thought we were operating last month.
I
and
thought
it's
that
still
was
there.
the original, but I could be wrong.
But, I mean, you're to the point where this is going to happen.
Yeah.
It's not happening tonight because you're just taping it to be sure that we have it.
Yes, also, I got a new phone, so I'm
Okay.
working out the like Wi-Fi
Okay.
situation. I don't know if it's possible. There might be, can you live stream to YouTube? I created a YouTube channel for us also because at the beginning of these conversations, it was just about getting the recording available online for people to listen to. And then it went from recording to live streaming. So if there is a way to get it onto the YouTube, maybe I could add that to our YouTube channel too. Anyway, there's lots of possibilities. I will figure it out. If y'all want live stream, you're gonna get it.
I don't really have, do the other commissioners care if it's live streamed or if it's on 10 minutes after the meeting's
I
over?
think that was I think what Dan was trying to bring live stream because it's, again, you give people an opportunity to be there and not actually physically be present during that time.
But they can watch it.
And yeah, you can watch it subsequently after that, but this also gives you the opportunity to, in the comfort of your own home or wherever you're at, to live stream it as it's happening.
And it just
That's-
seems to me, but,
Well, it was pretty
That's-
appropriate for
Okay.
Comey hearings today.
yeah.
So, I mean, you know, I think there are
I mean,
reasons
this
to
is
have
definitely
things.
gonna happen, because she's recording it also, so.
I guess I have a hard time with a resolution personally. I think we have to be careful with that. And so, you know, I think legally, you can't bar someone from doing
And
something.
legally, he said we could say what we would prefer. We're not saying you can't, but, you know.
You are a board, you make a decision.
I just think it's not, it just consistently ignores what residents ask. And I'd like to see something that the board does to say, we're listening to you, but this is our hand you guide.
And for the record too, since I've heard a lot about constituents' concerns, is that I've heard a lot of constituents thanking me for the live streaming the last 6 months. A lot more people, I haven't finished yet.
Go ahead.
A lot of people that can't make it to our meetings have no idea what our park district does. And through this live streaming, I think, and I can prove through my contacts, is that there have been literally hundreds now that have a better idea of what our park district does. And I think that's phenomenal. That's a good thing.
I also think it's good to give credit to people that get themselves at a meeting, I mean, for years, and make a comment.
I guess I'm not clear what the actual vote is then.
Is to say that we do not approve as a board. We understand that it's legal, but as a board, we understand that the residents, you know, have asked that it not happen, and I think it should be formally said by the rest of the board that Commissioner Coyne is doing this on his own, and I mean, I don't know how you're gonna vote, but whoever votes.
Can I ask, if it wasn't on the desk there and it was somewhere else sitting up, would that be
The issue is.
and out of the way? I'm just asking.
No, I'm answering you. The issue is that it's going on Commissioner Coyne's private telephone, and I don't know where that goes, and other residents have said they don't know where that can go, what can be cut from it, what can be added to it, and where it can go. And so you can't stop a person sitting out there, and you can't stop a commissioner, but I think we need to say that we're asking him to stop.
Is there editing on a live stream? I'm just asking.
I don't know how to
a question.
edit live stream.
I'm just asking.
I've asked a couple people that are in the business and they don't know the way either.
I got an Apple guy that lives on mine, or a Facebook guy that lives on my blog, so I'm gonna ask him.
I think also what the complaint has been too, that when this goes up on your Facebook page, there's a lot of comments going along with it. And so I think that's part of the,
That is part of it. The other part is, where does it go besides the Facebook page?
Well, only the Facebook
And
page.
legally, he can put it anywhere, I understand that, but as a board member, I'm just asking that we make that a statement.
Our meetings, the last 6 months or so that I've Facebook Live, just went on my Facebook. Now, other people in the world can share that anywhere they want, so they just copy and paste it. I don't know if that's ever happened. But as far as my Facebook live streaming of our meetings just stays on my Facebook page. It's still there.
I think, well, I'm not.
but is that also,
This could be a moot point.
just one more point, is that true of what we post from Ridgeville?
Yes. On Ridgeville's Facebook, anyone in the world can post on that. Now, the
As well.
administrator can vet some of those public comments. The city has the same issue. Most public, websites have the same issue. You have to be careful about what's said. You want to steer away from hate, but you also want to be careful about freedom of speech.
How many months would you wait before you would stop taking it and say, okay, Natalie, it's,
Well, I guess when we start seeing it and it's working. Yeah.
So if it worked tonight, you're saying?
It wasn't live streamed tonight.
It's not gonna work tonight.
So you're hell-bent on live streaming?
I'm not sure I'd use that term, but the last 6 months, I've found that live streaming has helped to broaden our constituency. So, yeah, I do like it.
So if Natalie's recording and everything work, and it goes on Facebook, that's not good enough. You're gonna wait until it's live streaming working.
Exactly.
And Natalie said she'll make that happen.
I'm
Right.
going to make it happen.
Okay.
And honestly, the conversations we've had, it's just a matter of tweaking the space maybe, or the Wi-Fi. There's also a
Our
booster
Wi-Fi
option.
lives right here, and for whatever reason, my phone, it did a pretty good job last time. There were just a couple spots there. I was hoping to remedy that but tonight by putting it on my network instead of using Wi-Fi, so just using my T-Mobile network. But my phone didn't like that, so we're gonna try something new.
Okay.
But the view and the sound was perfect.
Yeah, this is a great spot for it, but we'll figure it out.
Okay.
You can withdraw your motion.
I'll withdraw it, but I don't necessarily want to take it off the agenda.
Keep it on.
Okay,
Okay?
It sounds like it could be resolved as
Yeah,
early as next month.
that'd be great.
okay,
Great.
okay. Let's see, what else do we have here? Brummel Park, youth, that's you, Rob.
Yeah, it's me. School is just let out on Monday, 65, and I'm just to fill you in on last month. I just came up with the idea of everybody kind of adopting the park, and since I'm close to Brummel Park and a block away, I live on the other side of Ridge in Dobson, so it's just easy to get to and kind of monitor and just make sure that people know who Ridgeville is and that is a Ridgeville Park, and also for just making sure we know who our constituents are and that they know the programs. And also, there was not really an issue, but a couple of parents were concerned. In fact, this came up on Ann's post, Alderman Rainey's post a month ago or so about just kids playing in the park, different ages. So one of the ideas I had was actually to have a meeting. And Ann graciously said, hey Rob, just get a meeting, I'll be there. I haven't set a meeting. There's no need to really do that, but it's just more monitoring and just seeing what we can do better there and how we can support the ward and also support the kids in the park. And we've got 2 parks that are, within pretty close proximity to each other. So 3 actually, Elks Park, and maybe some of the bigger kids can kind of go to Elks Park and kind of stretch out. Also, we've got park monitors now, right?
What's that?
Park monitors.
Yeah,
or,
they started
or park,
Monday.
yeah. Our Youth in the Parks folks, that's going to be there on Monday, is that correct?
No, they started.
Oh, they started Monday. Okay, great. So they're there, and we just want to make sure that we're, being as hospitable as we can,
Right.
and things are going well. Yes.
One of the things that's happened in the last 10 days to 2 weeks is Kevin Brown from the city came out, and he's a community services manager, and he has a team. He's met with Darren. They're going to work together. Brummel, Clyde Brummel, Elks, 3 parks. Yesterday's numbers were about 30 kids total. I went by before the board meeting today, maybe 10, 12 kids out there. This is typically a slow week.
Right.
But it's going to heat up and it's going to get busy. And between us and the city and those 3 parks, and Kevin and Darren and our staff, we should get a handle on good things.
Brian, thank you for that and that collaboration with Kevin. That's wonderful. Do you know if all of our park play supply boxes are well supplied and what's in there approximately?
I got that for you too.
All right, good. Is it full?
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, what happens is we do an inventory, which we did, and now we'll see every year the interest from the kids in the neighborhood can change. I mean, soccer's big, kickball's big, Volleyball, not so much. But so Darren will let me know what's going on, what the requests are, and then we'll meet those needs in the next 2 weeks.
And did you say you have
Yeah, I do.
a sort of an item list
I
in
do.
each of those boxes?
I do.
Because the fuller they are and the more kids are out there using that stuff, I think the safer the parks are and the more fun it is.
What I want to do, you can take a look at it, I need to copy it.
Oh, okay, thank you.
You can take a look at it.
No, if you could just email it to us.
Okay.
Yeah, thank
Kevin
you.
Brown.
Porta potties, we discussed this last month, but I'd like to make a motion that we have the porta potty come back to this park for July, August, and then if we could just plan out for the following May, so then we're not in this situation again next year where, I mean, not May, sorry, June, where we're trying to figure out if we're gonna do this for the following year. So,
So moved.
Does that mean it goes to the budget, or?
Well, we just need
Yeah.
a second. then we can-
Okay, yeah.
Second.
It was
all in
that.
favor?
Well, we never discussion if you want.
Oh, do you wanna discuss?
No, I was just asking if it was to go in the budget, so that every year it's not like a red herring, we just have it in there. And you said that's what the
Yeah.
motion, okay, good.
Also, Brian, if you can, try to get a handicap accessible one.
Oh, yeah.
I know that's helpful.
Same as last year, yeah.
Good, thank you.
Okay, so we've got that.
Oh, wait, so
We need a second, sorry.
And it was seconded.
Rob seconded it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
So in other words, it's going in July and August, and then it'll be put in the budget for next year for the same months, July and August.
No, for June.
June, July, and August.
June, July, and August. What I meant was this rolls around to next June.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll call tomorrow and we'll try to get it out there as soon as we can.
Thank you. I did find out last year some neighborhood person, I don't know who, all right, was tipping it, but once your guys tied it down, it stopped.
Twice.
Thank you.
Board protocol, I wanted to bring this up. I think after last meeting, I was a little concerned with just how we, as a board, are talking to each other. And one thing I'd like to suggest is that we just don't interrupt each other when we're talking. I mean, when one board member is speaking, I think we should be very mindful that that person can finish what their point is or what they want to say. I think in the city, they actually have like a light on when someone's speaking. Anyway, I think if we could sort of work towards that, I think it would make our meetings just a little more civil. So, and then you had said you wanted to talk about something about
I
code of
wanted to
conduct.
say that I have signed the code of conduct, and I'd like to give it to you because you have to sign it.
Okay.
And I also would like to, can we discuss other things about code of conduct?
Sure.
I think that this business of someone in the audience asking a question, being, responded to, which we've been really willy-nilly with the last meeting and this meeting, I would like to see us do that. I mean, it's not like we have 200 people come to meetings. It's not like, and certainly as president, you can cut it off if it's going too long or whatever, but I'd like to see more of this kind of give and take. I think that, we're not the city of Evanston, we're Ridgeville. And if residents take the time to come to a meeting and they want to ask a question and they want to offer, I think that I would like to see us be warmer to that.
You mean during an agenda item or just
Yeah,
outside
during
of citizen comments?
Just like it was, it's citizen comments, I think we should be able to respond to them.
I think, yeah, your point is more of responding to,
Responding.
a question or something that we might know the answer to. But generally, we, in the past, didn't want to have a conversation about it. So this is more, if it's appropriate, let's just respond and give an answer. We're not going to debate it. We're not going to,
Right, just, if somebody says, where's Brummel Park, and we can just answer it instead of, and I mean, we can try it. If it gets out of hand, I understand that, but I just think that, we need to be a little more,
Debbie, I agree in the sense that asking or answering a direct question, or if it's something that's kind of
yeah.
you know, that doesn't create a whole lot of conflict, but just somebody needs an answer. If we ask permission of the chair to do that, I think that would be,
Great.
I think that could be okay. I mean, would you be open to that?
Yeah, I think when we set up these comments, we didn't want to have them go any more than 10 minutes on either end. So if we
And they
could,
rarely do.
right, but I think, you know, keeping that in mind, I think just for everyone's time,
And-
I think we should be mindful of that.
I also had an idea that we can talk about tonight or at another meeting, that when things are brought up and it needs more information, or that there could be someone, you know, I know someone in the community maybe that would volunteer to just, you know, take notes on that and just get back to you and say, well, you know, go to Natalie or go to Brian, you know, just so that people don't leave here feeling like, you know,
Like they don't know where,
I
how
mean,
to
we
take
need
it
to
to
talk
the next
about that a
step.
little bit more, but maybe it could be a question like what's that, you know, question and answer, and it could end up on Facebook, you know, at the meeting, this was asked, and here's the answer, if it's something that would, you know, I mean, we could talk about it, but I'd like to see us respond to the residents in a more friendly and inclusive way.
Okay,
So there are open meeting act implications to that.
okay.
Because things that are not on the agenda really should be discussed.
Right.
But that doesn't really apply to a question like, why were the soccer nets out?
Right.
So that could be asked
Does
during
need some
citizen
care
comment.
with regard to that.
So something like that could be asked during citizen comment
And responded to.
and responded.
Yeah.
And if we feel like it's getting out of hand, then bring the subject back up and let's, you know, but I'd like to give it a try.
I like your idea, Ann, of us working on our protocol during the meeting. I really like your idea of trying to reduce interrupting each other while we're speaking. I would ask all of us as a board to respect our chair and our president, who, in my mind, is the person to facilitate that. So it does put some more responsibility on you as the president, or whoever's chairing it, Rob as vice president. But I think that the way the city does it is there's some wisdom there. It's a very simple light, I believe, that's pushed. Now they have microphones, but there's a light, so the mayor can call on, or the chair of the meeting can call on, I guess, an order, you know, who wants to speak. Now maybe we could think about something that would work for us, so that you feel like you have some sense of authority and responsibility to be able to call on us and bring some semblance of order to the meeting.
I think
Something we can
2 or
look into.
5 people, you know, compared to the city, I think you do a great job of.
Anyway, I just think we could be a little mindful of not only our time, but our constituents' time.
Absolutely.
Can I say something real quick?
Uh-huh.
We, all three of us today at a different time said separately, why are these board meetings starting at 7:45 PM? Something you should think about. Why can't we start them at 7? I mean, or anytime you want, but 7:45 is late,
It is.
especially after you hit 60. I'm telling you, well,
Took you 3 years into my term to say that?
I mean, it's like,
What about starting at 7:30?
I'm going to bed in about 5 minutes, usually.
Yeah, I would be up for that.
I'm with you, Brian.
I make a motion, we start the meetings at 7:30.
I accept.
Something to think about.
Okay,
Second it.
I'll be in favor of that.
Okay, we'll put on the agenda for next month.
Originally, when they
7:30.
started at 7:45, there were commissioners that had young
There were,
children.
we tried to do this once before, but.
Yeah, and that's why we tried, but, you know, after the kids settled and everything, and that's why they started it.
Okay.
Okay.
None of us have that young children anymore. Okay, Bike the Ridge.
Bike the Ridge, and I do have one more new business item that can go after, you know, point F, and that's from, we already covered that. Natalie's going to get a hold of our alderman about the first night.
First night.
About August
Perfect,
1st.
okay. So really the point that I wanted to bring up on Bike the Ridge is, it's a phenomenal event, good collaboration between the city and everybody. The 25 years my family's lived here, it seems to be growing. I don't know the numbers, but it seems like hundreds, if not thousands of people are doing it. My suggestion to our board is to invite Commissioner Beatty to join the planning committee that plans Bike the Ridge, so that we actually have a board member, you know, participating in that planning. And the second idea that I have is, I would like us to ask this planning committee if we could this year have a fun run at the beginning of the Bike the Ridge. I'm thinking of children, wouldn't have to be just children, but I would like to find a way to get more of our community kids involved. Not all of them are biking, and I'm wondering if we could have a half hour or an hour at the beginning for a certain section of Ridge where we actually have a race with some corporate sponsors that donate something or gift the kids. And I don't know what that would be. I mean, I'd have to take it to the planning committee. But I can think of things that, well, I've run this idea by some of the schools where I work here in District 65, and some of the special needs kids in particular were real open to something like that if we were able to do something like that. And their providers, the folks that work with them, would be willing to volunteer with the kids if we did something like that. So it's really a two-point question on Bike the Ridge.
And is this something you want to do, Bob?
It's kind of like, whoa. Well, I'll say this, the idea for, at least separate from Dan, I don't know where Dan got his from before we actually talk, and we do talk about stuff around the district. Someone approached me several months ago, actually the Clam family, I don't know if you know them, but they're a family of 8, they live on my block, and the boys are big runners. They've got most of the records at Oakton and Chute schools for long distance running, Clam boys. But they said, hey, Bike the Ridge is great, we'd love to make a little run out of it, maybe an hour before. So that's where I heard this. So I will confess that came from some neighbors. So it did not come from me. And I don't know if Dan overheard that or if he had his own idea of this, but that's where it came from on my end. So just looking for a way to, yes, I would love to be a part of that planning committee. I have not reached out to Alderman Rainey or anybody else. Yes.
First of all, may I speak, Madam Chair?
Yes.
That's how you do it at City Hall. We pay permission. First of all, there is no planning committee specifically for Bike the Ridge. That was planned 10 years ago. And it is a well-oiled machine. And the planning committee for special events is about a 15-member committee of every department in the city that has anything to do with street sanitation, police department, fire department. It's a huge committee, it's very intense, and it meets a couple of times a month during the day, and it plans all the special events. So that's the committee that plans Bike the Ridge. There are approximately 20-some runs a year in the city of Evanston. There is only one family biking event, and it is Bike the Ridge. It is known statewide as one of the funnest family biking events. It is not going to be diluted by a fun run of any shape or size. On any other day of the year, if you would like the city to support a kiddie fun run or a family fun run, in addition to all the other fun runs, even in the month of October and September, there are multiple fun runs. I will be glad to support Rob Beatty and Reba Place Church and Ridgeville Park District at any other time. I will engage the city. Believe me, I will. But it is not going to happen on this day. If you would like to have it on Ridgeville Park District grounds, like running around Elks Park or something, fine. Or running around this
circle.
perimeter,
Small.
fine. But you just don't have any idea of the intensity and the cost of city employees to pull off this event. to close every single street, all the way up and down Ridge Avenue, to contact every single owner of every single property along Ridge, from Howard Street to Church Street. Nobody can move a car in or out of their driveway. You know, we were told when we started this, oh my God, people are going to go in a rage. They're not, people love it. You know, we have gotten to the point where people love it. But it is such an event. It takes so much. See these trucks at the end of the event going down, picking up all the barriers, coming down at the beginning of the event, putting the barriers down, all of the motorcycles going up and down. This year, one change is going to take place. We are going to ask people with strollers, stay out of the street. It is so dangerous. You see women jogging with their babies down the street. It is just too dangerous. They cannot be in the street. So having a fun run ain't going to happen on the day of Bike the Ridge.
What's the date this year?
I think it's October 1st.
Yes, I needed that information.
So it just can't happen. It's just too much to ask city forces to do something like that. Maybe if you want to have little kids on the sidewalk, you could have little sidewalk patrols to watch them. Just don't ask the city of Evanston to oversee that. And the Clan family, maybe, you know, they have enough people, they can just do one all by themselves on some other day, but it's not gonna happen on that day.
It was
Right
just that.
idea. But I would love for you, I mean, aren't you on the special events committee?
What's he say?
Are you on the special events committee?
No.
You don't come to the special, well, I mean, somebody from.
Our special event's the Fall Frenzy right next door to the bike.
No, right,
ride.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we really take, we put a lot into it. Angela Hansen and I have been working on this for years and years and years. City is just all in on it. And, I mean, I would say probably 25 people from the city of Evanston work on this event. And,
It's a
I
great
mean, we
event.
couldn't do it without Ridgeville, of course. I mean, just having the space. But if you all decided you wouldn't do it, we would do it, you know, we would do it in another park down the street. But we
No,
don't,
that's,
you know. I mean,
no, it's been great.
to have
It's been
you-
great. That-
To have you, I mean, to have the band playing, and, I mean, it's just become, we call it South Evanston's 4th of July. I mean, yeah.
Good way to look at
And
it.
there's nobody in town who does it.
Alderman Reed, thank you. That helps to have that clarity. Can you answer a question for the constituents who I've been talking with?
If they want to run, there are lots of other runs.
If I can, answer my question. My question is, where can anyone in the community go who would like to tweak Bike the Ridge? And my takeaway from your answer is that group or that committee is the events committee.
Special events committee.
Thank you.
And I'll be right there, listening.
All right, thank you. The last item is the tentative budget for 17-18. Brian?
Well, just a few words on the tentative budget. You received it last month. I hope you took a peek at it. You need to know that this document obviously is tentative and it's floating and it's going to change. With your input, with your ending numbers, it will change, obviously. We've had some suggestion tonight. Remember the calendar for the tentative budget. We pass it in July. That document can still change till September when we pass the appropriation ordinance. Once that's passed, we're locked in, and then in December we pass the levy ordinance. So you have time to look at it. There's a few things in there that can go, can move, can reduce, can expand, up for good discussion. Like I said, Ann's already made a suggestion on some money for planning the Garage Art Studio. So things can change. Just want you to know that. when you look at the budget, the reason Jerry and I meet later on in August with year-ending numbers is because there's so many unknowns. For instance, what kind of year are we going to have with utilities? We could have another warm winter, and we're in good shape. Fuel for vehicles, just read today. Price of gas is going to stay down all summer. That's unusual. That's good. Building repairs, and what else might break down? Those are unknowns. The furnace could go, something could happen. And then a very minor one is we don't know our audit expense, but it's like a $200 difference from, but I don't have that number. So there's a lot of unknowns, and there's a lot of floating to this budget. So take a peek. You can pass it in July as is, and you can still change it in August and September.
Can I make one request? From Jerry's report, I think that's a big number difference in the revenues off the programs. And I'd just like to see if you guys could project out, like what made that difference this year and what are we looking at for next year?
Well, what we're hoping is somewhere we made a pencil mistake, and we have more money coming in June, but it won't be anywhere near $30,000. It could be $10,000. But I'm hoping we're going to go back to the computer, see what Jerry's been getting as information, and maybe there's a mistake somewhere. We don't know. But by July, you'll have an update.
Okay, great. Okay, citizens' comments, part 2.
Yes. I still have a problem with the recording. I have a question too. Charles, I've looked at the last 2 minutes. Do you put him down as present when he's here?
Yes, the attorney, yes.
He hasn't been to the last 2 meetings.